My name is Samuel Cortez. I was born in Guadalajara, Jalisco. So that's kind of like where the churros are more popular and really where the churros are more known. So I was born there. I came when I was 14 to the US and I've been living here since. My mom was more of a housewife. She was like at the house, taking care of the kids. She loved to cook. That's one thing. She always cooked really nice, really good. So since I was young, I would see her in the kitchen. I'm the youngest one, so I was mostly with her. And I like cooking because I would see her in the kitchen. My dad, he was always into commerce. He had a warehouse of produce in Guadalajara. So since I was very little, I saw business in the household. I saw sales and supply and demand. And he was mostly focused on tomatoes. A lot of people don't know it's a very delicate produce item. One of the first things to go bad, but it's one of the most requested items in Mexican cuisine. For the salsas and everything, the tacos, para todo se usa. So that was kind of like the background of his business. And since I was born until came over here, that's everything I saw. The first house that I lived in, the first neighborhood, it was mostly older people, retired people. It was right in front of a park. So my memories were like, I went to I had the huge blessing of going to kind of like a private school the first year, so I was bilingual. I learned a little bit of English over there. That's why I didn't struggle so much coming over here. So it was mostly home, a little bit to the park, then school, and that was the cycle. When I was 11, and I remember really clearly because that's when 9/11 happened. I was 11 and we moved out from that house because my parents split, and I went to that other neighborhood, which it was barely 5-10 minutes from where I lived first, but it was a whole different change. It was more of a ghetto community. It was different. It was not, now it was a lot of young kids that would play in the street. I used to play soccer all day. That was the thing, like in the middle of the street, haciendo travesuras, haciendo maldades. So it was more of a different neighborhood. Now I had more people to hang out with because it was a younger crowd in that area. 2004, that's when I was blessed with having the opportunity to become a citizen because my mom took the citizenship test and she got it. Since I was a minor, automatically they gave it to me. For some reason, I don't know, I felt that I belonged here. Not because I don't like Mexico, I love Mexico. But it's like I saw the opportunity here that I would never have over there because we weren't rich. We didn't have a lot of money. I mean, my dad was a hustler and he was, doing good. But in Mexico, it's very different. So it was like I didn't see the same opportunities over there that I saw here. I didn't know when I was little the story. There was already established business when I was growing up. What I remember the most, it was like he was always waking up at 3:30 in the morning because that business starts really early. And he would come home around 1, sometimes a little earlier. I mean, just because he wanted to stay a little longer taking care of the business. But honestly, when I actually got to go with him, I saw that his business was mainly from 4 in the morning to 6 in the morning. Everything was sold. The loads, 53 feet trailer holds about 1,500 boxes of tomato. They'll be gone 2 or 3 of those loads in a matter of an hour and a half. So it's very fast paced. We were talking about large quantities of money, and he was able to get off early, be with his family, have the whole day to himself, and money was decent. I mean, there was like everything. Sometimes there would be losses because the season was bad or the product went bad and you lose, but there was also good seasons. So I remember I would see how he'll manage his time. He was basically the owner, so he would do the business as he thought it was best. And I guess that's what I liked. When I was little, I didn't know I wanted to be into business or an entrepreneur. I actually liked medicine in the beginning, or I thought about being a lawyer too, but I was always honest with myself. That requires a lot of reading. I don't like reading much. So I was like, I don't know what I want to do, but I know I want to do something where I can make money and manage my time. When you're in business, I say it like this, and it's something that's always on my mind. They'll let you borrow $100,000 on student loans, but they will not let you borrow $20,000 for a business. And that's reality. That's something that we could fight against, but that's how the system works. So if you have an idea and you want to push it, there's no help. Unless you have family with money, but sometimes even the family doesn't believe in your business. Usually it's the family the first one that's going to tell you, why would he risk this? Don't go that route. You know, it's too risky, it's too dangerous, especially in the Hispanic community. I see that a lot. Work, save, work for someone. You know, wait on your social security, things like that. That kind of mentality hurts because other races they actually tell you, here's 10,000, flip it, do something with it. You see that in Asians, Arabs, they support each other to start a business. And they have that advantage that they have already family that's already in a business. Well, we usually don't have that. So if you don't have credit or savings, it's gonna be really, really tough to start a business. Now, if you have some credit cards and some cash, you mix that together, you can start a business. You can start pushing your idea. You can market yourself in a way where you can make that something. Instead of just wasting it at the club or in a fancy car or whatever, you push it into something that's gonna generate cash flow. Later on, you're gonna see that money came back, plus now you have a source of income. And that's why it's very important to have credit and cash, or one or the other, but it's always best to have both. You know, a little bit of cash for things that you can't pay with cards, and some credit cards so you don't have to risk your cash. But it's a perfect mixture to start a business. You know, a little bit of credit and a little bit of cards. My first personal business, like my own, I became a barber. I was working in Northgate Markets, right here down the street, actually right behind us is Northgate Markets. I worked there in 2010 to 2013. 2010 is when it opened. So I was there since the grand opening. Later on, things happened. I had to leave that job. I wanted to leave it because I couldn't take it no more. You know, I wasn't growing as I wanted. My sister has a barbershop, so I took a week off, went, practiced, tried it. I saw that I kind of like could get the hang of it, and I became a barber. And that's pretty much self-employed. It's kind of having your own business. Got the idea. I wanted to get into the food business because honestly, I always wanted to have my own business, and I thought at first I was gonna own a barbershop. But things changed in the industry where a lot of young people with a little bit of money, they will start a barbershop here, another barbershop down the block. And it was like, you know, ethics is really important in the business industry. If I sell churros, I'm not going to go stand next to another person that sells churros. Barbershops, what happened was that some barbers will get out of their shop and open a shop down the street. Like get right in the corner of their old shop. And I noticed that they weren't making enough money to succeed, like to stop working. But at the same time, they will take customers away from other barbershops. So I was like, I don't want to compete in that kind of environment, especially in this area, because there's so many barbershops. So I decided to get into the food business. I didn't know in what until I kind of like started doing research. First opportunity we had, it was opening fruits, abionicos place. For one thing or the other, it didn't come along. But I just fell in love with the pastries. The sweets, the dessert. I guess something clicked in my mind that I thought there's so many food businesses out there, like food, like tacos, burgers, all kinds of food businesses. But there's nothing really interesting about desserts. Now there's more options, but when I got the idea, there wasn't that many options. So I was like, what do I like that I would like to sell? And I went with churros. This idea came, I would say, late 2016. We started with the cart in the sidewalk on June, July of 2017. On the meantime, while we got this trailer delivered, because it took like 9 to 10 months to be made, from the planning, the building, and everything. On the meantime, I didn't want to just be sitting with my hands crossed. I really wanted to get hands-on because I knew I needed practice. I knew that I needed to get used to not only build a clientele, but also get used to working. You know, get the systems and procedures right. So when I got the idea, we were in the process, me, my sister, and my brother-in-law, of looking at that fruits abionicos place because they're my partners in this business. At first, they wanted to put me into that kind of business, but I told them, you know what, honestly, I'm not gonna get into something that's not churros. That's what's in my mind. I was already stuck with it. I was already laser focused. And I told them, they kind of liked the idea. At first, they were like, we don't know anything about that. I was like, don't worry, we'll learn. And I experimented with a recipe for over a month. As soon as we'll close the shop down, I'll come out with my tiny little fryer and a new batch, and I'll test it in a bag. Churros blow up, they will come out weird. They were like, it was a lot of, but at least I have the pride of saying that it's not something that I just downloaded off the internet. I experimented a lot, and that taught me a lot of how to, through trial and error, find the right thing. The name itself, I had actually another name in mind. I might skip that because I see someone already using it. later on, and I was gonna register and trademark it and save it because I thought about it like that's another good name. But in the end, I didn't. I just went with this one because when we're filing for the paperwork for the name and the corporation and everything, they asked me, what name do you want to use? And out of nowhere, this one came along. And I was like, I had the other one in mind, but I wasn't sure about it. I loved it, but I was like, I don't know if I want to use it right now, maybe in the future. I don't know, what should I do? And I thought about this. For now, let's do something generic. I said, let's do Dulce Canella. I was like, okay, sure. Once I saw it on paper, I thought about it, we filed it. Dulce Canella, Dulce Canella. It had a ring to it. Later on, people started hearing the name, seeing the business card, seeing the Instagram. They were like, that's a nice name. It's catchy. People noticed that the Canela, I put double L. It's just to stand out and to make it different and to generate that connection with the Mexican American culture, with the Spanglish, you know? Because when the young people come in, they read it as Canela. The Mexican crowd, they come and they say, oh, it's Canella. And it was a funny dialogue that would start when there was people in line and they were like, ¿Por qué dice Canella? And then the son or the daughter, the nephew, whoever came with the older, no, it's Canela. Like, no, it's double L. It's like umbrella, Canela. And people kind of got the hang of it. Now nobody really questions that. I mean, I guess they get the idea it's Canela. But at first that was, had some angry people say like, oh, you guys don't even know how to spell. You know, any promotion is good promotion. So people started making fun of it, but in the end it was just promotion because no, it says Canela. And has a ring to it in a sense. See, time catches up with you. Whether you want it or not, time catches up with you. So there's times that you don't make a decision, you don't take action. A month, 2 months, 3 months later, you're just like, if I would have started 3 months ago, right now I'll be already getting to the goal. Or I would have already advanced this much. So I guess to me, that's the most important thing about not only business and life. If you want to do something, start. Don't procrastinate, don't leave it for later because then you're going to regret it. Time doesn't come back, it catches on with you. Sometimes failure means, okay, stop, that's not the way you're supposed to go. And sometimes it means just keep on pushing. You learn something, but keep on pushing. But you have to be realistic because I see a lot of motivational speakers and there's people with business Instagrams that they don't even own a business, but they give you business advice and they tell you, oh, failure doesn't exist. Failure is in your mind. Oh, you can't fail. Yeah, you can. You can fail. But it's like, let's say if Julio Cesar Chavez wanted to be a swimmer. And he wanted to be a swimmer, but he was never fast enough. Like, he would have never quit that. He never would have found out that he was a great boxer. Now, in my mind, sometimes failure tells you you have to choose a different path. Failure, to me, it's the moment, it's a turning point where you make a decision, do I keep on going or do I shift? You shouldn't be scared of shifting your path because sometimes you have to adapt. That's the thing about business. You have to adapt. No matter the circumstances, you have to adapt. Sometimes you have to change the course a little bit. Sometimes there's gonna be times like recipes that are not gonna work out, items that are not gonna sell, things like that. But you can't just quit because of failure. But at the same time, you can't be hard-headed and say, I'm gonna keep on pushing because they tell me there's no failure in life, so I'm gonna believe that. No, failure, it's one of two things. There's a moment to make a determination whether you keep on going or switch paths. I didn't expect to grow that fast. I thought by this time we would be planning a second trailer or something like that. Now we're going for a storefront because thank God it's been really busy. It's been a busy season. I want to get it open before the cold weather because this past year in the cold weather really beat us up, man. We didn't have enough space for all the people. We didn't have enough production. It was really, really amazing. So if I had to take a wild guess, in 5 years, I could see us in 2 or 3 different locations or already franchising. Because it's that kind of business where you put your heart and your effort and your mind to it, where you can't see it as, okay, maybe we're gonna go into another location. I mean, it's good to dream. You gotta shoot as high as possible. You know, the sky's the limit. So I'm not scared to say like we can have 3, 4, 5 locations or already maybe selling franchises in 5 years. I've heard that after 2 in the morning, creative minds are most creative. There's no noise. There's nothing to bug you. There's nothing to really get in the way of you learning. So the first step is learning as much as you humanly possibly can about whatever you want to get yourself into. If it's a food business, the recipes, the marketing aspect, the name, things like that. So you have to learn first. I guess to me it was 2-3 months of like literally no sleep, sleepless nights because I would get up in the night and I was like, I want to do this, but I don't know how. So researching, reading, watching videos. The first thing is knowing as much as you possibly can. And second, we'll be thinking a lot about the branding, presentation, and things like that, because in this day and age, if you don't have a brand, it's really, really hard to make something actually catch on. You can have a good product. I mean, we had the recipe, tasted really good. We had the work ethic. We were really working hard. We had the consistency. We were there, every single day, pushing, hustling. You can have the sales techniques and the sales practice and training. And I was good selling. I can tell people about the business and what we sell. But people won't remember you if they don't have a name to go based off. They can't recommend you. They'll tell, go buy the churros at this park. So people that are not from the area, they're not gonna remember. So the name is the first thing. The logo, like this simple logo that we designed at first. Well, I designed it at first. Simple app. I just went in there and just used some font. It really catched on because people would see it and they will recognize it. Oh, that's Dulce Canella. In the shirts and the business cards and things like that. So the name, the logo, colors, you have to have consistent colors. Right now I'm not wearing my shirt because I was in a rush. I actually didn't have time to get the shirt ready and the uniform and everything. But it's really important to have your dress code, your colors, your logo. Now where we go, that's why the new shirt that I designed, the latest one, in the back it says a phrase that people repeat to us over and over. They're like, when I tell them, what do you sell? What do you do for a living? Where do you work? I'm like, I sell churros. People always say, churros? And I'm like, yeah, churros. So I put that in the back of the shirt. The first time that we wanted to actually sell in the street, since we had no permit and we just had a little tiny cart to sell from, it wasn't like a trailer or nothing that looked presentable. A lot of places turned us down. And I remember every single place that we would go and ask for permit, hey, could we sell right here on the sidewalk? Hey, cause a lot of people said no. So that was the first challenge, finding a place where they said, yeah, but I believe in God. I believe that God directs your way and your path. And he put us in the right place because in that place, that's where we blew up. It was the right place at the right time and with the right people. So that was the first challenge, finding the right place. The second challenge, we had to push the cart by hand because we didn't even have a pickup. So that was another challenge. I guess one of the biggest challenges is earning people's trust. They'll pass by and see that we sold churros, but not everybody's gonna stop in the middle of the street, the middle of Compton, the middle of the night to buy churros. So getting the name out there, getting the concept out there, getting the people's trust so they could stop and buy. That was another concept, getting the name out there. Once I leave something, I want it to be for my people that I see that struggle with people. They don't believe in the Hispanic or Latin community as much. Even themselves or ourselves, being Mexican or coming from a country like they say third world country or whatever. I don't like that term much because even though there's a lot of places in Mexico that's not as developed as the US, the major cities of Mexico are very, very forward in technology and advancement and business. But like sometimes we see ourselves as less. I'm Hispanic, I'm Mexican, or I don't speak the language very well, I don't have the training, my family doesn't have a business, how am I going to start? I want to leave the kind of legacy where people could look at our story, get inspired, people could come to me, ask questions, or look at our story and go based on that. I want to do videos, I want to write a book, I want to do as much as training materials I possibly can, so the legacy is, you can do it, you better get to it because it's possible. Why waste your talent and your time if you could actually do it? I want that to be the legacy of my culture, my people. The stronger your circle is, the more you're gonna be able to do. And there's nothing better than having a circle of people that are like you. Of course, you could get into other kind of circles, but it's not gonna feel like you belong. It's always gonna feel like, yeah, you could belong anywhere you want. I mean, I don't see that people are less or some people are more. Everybody is equal and could be equal. But when you see people that come from your same background, that speak the same kind of language, that use the same words that you use, that eat the same food that you eat, I mean, that has a different, like I said, Dulce Canella is family. Your circle has to be family. So in a sense, we should connect because we share so many things already. We could share success together. And I guess the stronger your circle is, the stronger and the more you could do. If you have a weak circle, it's not easy to come out of it. It's not easy. It's like a vicious cycle. You hang out with people that are doing bad things, you're gonna do bad things. You hang out with athletes, you're gonna end up playing a sport. So it's like strengthen your circle, motivate people around you, grow together, and that ends up in success all the time. When you motivate your circle and your circle motivates you, it ends up in success.